flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I noticed on the consent agenda has to be changed. You did the north home. I know. To be approval with for payroll and billing with the precinct. So we're not actually through getting with accepting.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda with those stipulations.
I'll second it.
Issue,
Go ahead.
I just requested that we have on the agenda that flyer that Rachel sent us regarding the training, so I'd like that on the agenda to discuss training.
It's not something that we can discuss tonight. I have to get all the information together. If we're actually gonna have a little discussion about it. It was the training that council members are supposed to have. I'm working on gathering more information. That was just like an informal, hey, this is offered to you guys. If you want to see what else is out there, I can definitely get all that together. And then we're gonna go through on the next meeting, but I mean, I can bring the flyer out, but there's not a real discussion that we can have as far as, because there's grants out there, there's scholarships, not grants, there's scholarships, there's free trainings out there.
Right, and that was my issue, is that it's $95 and I'm not there.
Right, there's free trainings out there that you can take. And I'm gonna get an email put together. I just haven't had an opportunity. It's not done. It's not needed until December.
Also, the Association of Washington Cities does give our city
Scholarships.
4 scholarships a year that pays for the entire.
Which if it was on the agenda, we could be having this discussion.
That's the whole expectation, yeah. They're sending me.
If you'd like to talk more, we put it on.
I know it's been put on the agenda. You know,
On the
because
agenda.
training. So we have the consent agenda.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, great. We are now straight on to department reports. So let's see. Let's start with Dwayne. You know what's going there, right?
Yeah, okay. Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening. I'm just gonna go over a few quick things. We had 2 officers that resigned for personal reasons, has nothing to do with the city of Toledo, the department, or the mayor, or the council. Just bad situations in their personal lives. Nothing really bad, just they couldn't continue on in the work. We completed the last 2 LMIW defensive tactics classes at Pastor Joe's church, which was really good. We have now sworn in Bill Lynn as a reserve officer, and he's providing a great presence there at the elementary school for traffic in the mornings, which I really appreciate. It's a big thing. Again, wanted to acknowledge the Trafton family that donated money for us to get active shooting vests. I thought that was really an amazing gesture, and we keep them in prayer. Let's see what else. We have a couple of big cases that are working their way through the system. The biggest one is probably the Toledo Middle School case with the teacher. Has been arraigned, has appeared in court. We have another hearing that's coming up in the next week, so I'll keep you posted on that. We had a recent felony arrest for 2nd-degree assault, and that one is proceeding through its process as well. We've had 33 calls for services, and then additionally we went to the homecoming parade, and we were at the Kent Wilson RV Park for the day of the park, I think. That's just kind of an overview. Any questions from anybody?
You have somebody on the potential?
Yes, we have another candidate, lateral, which is good. Not getting really excited about it. as you can see. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm not gonna get excited. Support the person completely and we'll see where it goes. Great. Thank you.
Might have a quick question. I saw the city of Napa Vine police car rolling through town on my way to the meeting. Are they policing in Toledo right now?
No, so, former chief, John Brockmuir, has, as we know, he has ties to the community. And then also, I think that he comes out and sees his family.
Okay,
So, yeah, he's not policing, but he does, it's good to have him around. And when I see him, we talk, you know, and it's a good time for him and I to get together and talk about what's going on. That type of thing, but there's nothing, he's not policing. So.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mike was one of a bunch of questions he told me before.
Yeah, bring it. Come on, Steve, you must have a solution, right? Are we hooked at the sewer or what? Do we have toilet paper? Are we yet?
I don't know, do you?
Hello, everybody. Hi.
Hello. I do have a question.
Okay.
Well, while I do appreciate how beautiful the new gravel road is on Washington Street, it's my yard. And I've got 18 inches of loose gravel that is now in the city's part that I maintain. That goes all the way to my chain link fence. But only about this much of it is terribly loose gravel. I've got a new push mower with a brand new mowing blade. I've got a brand new rider with a brand new mowing blade. And I've already got 2 busted windows on the other side of my house from when South Fourth was done a few years ago.
Okay.
Is there any way or any remedy to help with this? Winlock, the show offs, had somebody come through with some kind of a vacuum that sucked up gravel. But this is the pits.
Yeah, so if you want to leave your address and then we'll go over it and take a look at it.
Cause I would
No, I
just
get
even
it.
love some help, cause
No, we saw this whole thing, how this all came about, like it was a mutual thing, I think it was 7 cities. And it happened like within 2 weeks. There wasn't really a lot of planning on this thing. It's gonna come back around again in 5 years. Hopefully, they will plan it better and they will get together with city staff so we can go around and look at the roads and kind of get a plan together, but yeah, no,
I mean, it's, I look a lot better than I did the night it was done, and I realized that nobody was coming and sucking stuff up.
yeah, no, we'll take care of it.
I would really appreciate
No,
it.
no problem.
I would really appreciate it.
I saw a couple of side roads and I've already kind of talked to John, my other guy, and I assume we're gonna have more work to do, so,
Thank you.
yeah, no problem.
You get my information.
So anyway, we had a cooling, heater go out in one of the main generators at the plant. We fixed that, we replaced it, it's all up and running, everything's working fine, thank God. We collected lead and copper samples for the water system, turned them in. We should get those results back within another week or so. So, usually they come back okay. That happens about every 3 years, we do that. Tip seal is all done. So we will be going around and taking a look at some of the side roads. I noticed when they swept, they did leave windrows. I may end up calling the company that did it and having them come out, maybe take a look at it so bad that we can't just kind of, fix it ourselves real quick. So working on inventory for public works. So that should be done this week sometime, I hope. It's going well. So some changes, there's some things that weren't on there for years back, so we've added some things, so. Asked Rachel about the extra help for hours, so she's gonna get that together. So we can figure out where we're at on that and how many hours, what the wages is gonna be and all that stuff, so. And of course, one of the workstation computers down at the plant, it's going out, so it's hard to get anything done on it. So we're gonna have to replace that, talk to Rachel, we're gonna try to work some computer issues out here, and she'll talk more about that probably. So, other than that, I think we're good. We had a consumer confidence report, it got on our website, but somehow it didn't get to the Department of Health. So we got a little email reminder from the Department of Health that it didn't get there. Thanks to Rachel, Friday, we got it together, got it turned in. So we don't like those little reminders, but sometimes it happens. So we'll work hard to make sure we don't get a lot of things.
How much is it gonna cost to replace or refit that computer?
We haven't even gotten there yet.
Okay.
Alright.
Alright.
I think it's been approved, yeah, I think it's been approved for us to get new computers in the office. Our thought process was, we bought a Visions computer for the police department, they don't necessarily need Visions. I was thinking of moving that one over to the office, because there's one in the office that's about to be done, we have to restart it every day. Get the police officer just a regular computer, one that's not really as expensive as Visions, but they're still able to install all of the firewall and everything required through the Washington State Patrol security system, and then we'll also need to get one over. The stuff that he needs is like Excel and all that, that computer might work in a pinch for a little bit. But as far as like Visions keeps crashing on it. So.
And I think I had on the list of things that we needed, both the workstation computers down there at the plant probably should be.
Right.
They're very
Yeah.
good, so.
And they don't need Vision, so it's not gonna be expensive.
So you had some bids for I&I for that inspection for that. Are you going out with somebody to try to use their equipment or?
Yeah, we're probably gonna get hold of, the guy that comes out, Evergreen, and, we're gonna try to do some more smoke testing here pretty soon.
Okay,
So,
just keep us up to date.
it'll be on this conference.
Okay, and then there's safety signs that. Let's see. Yeah. Was there something that you were supposed to get some cost for some signs? Was that one-way signs? Or,
No, that's been working signs and all that.
oh, the safety, okay, so.
Yeah, so we'll get all those in a bit
Okay,
and get them turned in, yeah.
and then we also have the volunteer who volunteered to clean the boat ramp. After, so that's not, have you been able to connect with that?
I haven't heard from him yet at all. He's got my information. I've talked to him before. He's helped us out, so. Yeah, anytime. Or,
So do you need something from us to get a hold of him, or do you?
no, I don't, I guess that application, did you have his number on that application that you gave me, or was it? Okay, well, I guess I could give him a call.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Anything else?
Yes, you're talking about getting extra help, I thought that was going to be in summer and so. So, what do you need to help with?
Of course, I thought you guys voted to pass it, that's what I heard.
You asked for.
The summer help.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's something that we asked to be put on for the,
ARPA.
The problem is that we can't create a position with ARPA money that's not gonna be sustainable because then we have to fire
yeah, we haven't voted on it yet. We haven't
So it's-
voted on
Oh, it wasn't voted.
No,
Oh, okay, so I was understanding.
I thought you were talking about that summer. That's where everything's communication.
City Hall.
So REIT one, after looking through some older receipts from 2022, I discovered we actually have been receiving REIT one. The way it's paid, it's mixed in with property taxes. So I went back through all of 2023 on Friday. And had everything reapplied correctly. So we are receiving REIT. I think we're still working on looking into REIT two, and waiting to hear back from Lewis County. I'm still working on that SAO report that Michelle came down to help with. It's gonna take a couple hours of just uninterrupted time, and that's not been possible since it's just been me in the office. Raina's been coming down 1 to 2 times a week to help out with utility payments and deposits, which is super helpful. Interviews. So we ran an Indeed ad for an entry-level utility clerk position. I did several interviews over the first week and narrowed it down to 3 prospects I thought would be a good fit. I set up second interviews with Eric. We met with them. After discussing the pros and cons of each candidate, Eric and I decided Carly would be the best fit for the city. She was supposed to start October 5th, but she actually came in last week to go down to the Secretary of State meeting with me, which was a nice jump in for her to kind of start with and see how things work. So Carly did start today. As far as the budget, Eric and I have been tackling the bars and getting things cleaned up, so we have a better look at 2023. We've both been working really hard at that, and as soon as we're finished, we will put together a date for a workshop. Really, until we have those down, it doesn't make sense to do a workshop just yet, but I don't think we're very far off from completing that. So I did go to that state archive workshop. We picked up boxes and labels so we can start tackling the records. It gave a lot of really good guidance on how to proceed. And just a lot of good information. They gave templates and Excel sheets. They did kind of like, they went over, hey, this is your record, where would you put it? So they gave us some practice stuff. I actually came in Saturday and started going through records, and I pulled out a lot of stuff already and started working on it. I think it's definitely going to take a couple months, but if I come in for 4 or 5 hours every other week on a Saturday without any interruptions, it should take a couple months. I was contacted about the RTO, about that grant that we applied for. We had an emergency council meeting where we had to rectify what council approved on September 5th. So we turned in a form. It was an authorization signature form where we assumed it was just a form of who was authorized to sign, but we actually needed a resolution to even apply for that grant. So that's what that meeting was about. Last week, our cell phones, we're working on getting our cell phone costs down. We do have a representative that I am working with, and actually spoke to him today, and he's already knocked down a lot of the prices on our monthly phones.
Because you told my bulk every time I see the house.
Yeah, and he's gonna send me some links to get one of our phones replaced at a cheaper cost. The district court remittance, I was unaware. So every month we receive a check and a bill from Lewis County District Court, and it's money that we receive. I wasn't aware that some of that money needs to be sent out. When Michelle came out, she did bring it up to me. So that was kind of on my list of things to do, and I stumbled across some of Devin's notes on how to do this. And so after doing some digging, I found a lot of examples that she had left in one of her everything books. So I have started knocking those out. I should have them done by the end of the week, but it's money that we owe to the state, so it's important to get it done. We're still using Trello more and more. I was able to sit down last week and make a lot of cards for Carly, just step-by-step instructions on how to do stuff. After sitting with her for maybe 15 minutes today, showing her one task, she was able to sit down and pretty much complete an 8-hour day. I think she had 3 questions, and she did this task over and over and over again from start to finish. It's a task that I would have done all in one, just taking in all the payments, which obviously it's the end of the month. So there was probably 40 payments that came in over the weekend. So instead of just doing one large deposit, I just had her break it down into several small ones, because there's so many steps in between to get from A to B. So she just did repetition all day today, and I think maybe 3 questions. So she did really good on that with the Trello. Quarterlies are almost done. I was finishing those tonight, and then water sewer billing actually went really well. There was very little complaints. I think maybe 1 or 2 people said that they still had the $10 water charge. So that's very promising that we're getting all those fixed. Doxo is still working amazing. I think we only had one person come in and use all paid. And then one person called to use all paid. So we have, I would say probably, I'd have to look it up, but I would think close to 70% of people are paying on Doxo. Maybe less than that, but I mean, those are all calls and people coming in from before, so it's cut down a lot of the time in the office, face to face and phone calls. But that's everything I have.
I suppose the council wants to talk about right now, if we wanna have a, you know, like last year we had that budget meeting, the first touchy-feely budget meeting where we did absolutely nothing. If we wanted to do something like that and maybe address policies or something, we could do that while we're waiting for the prep work to be done. It's one more meeting, but you know, it's a little.
Looking at ones that need to be updated, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I think to understand what a city budget is and like look at this year's or last year's for the year before's audit and look and see what they say.
That's something we need to address. I was more talking about, we have all of the city policies that we were wanting
Yeah,
to
it's
review,
either
so
budget or
it's kind of it's our annual time to
Exactly,
review those as
talk about
well.
all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
But for specifically
Yeah,
policy,
I think for policies,
Policies.
yeah,
that
I
would
mean,
be a targeted.
we do, yeah, we can talk about the audit when, because we do have that on other business.
Well, just as a reference, because it is a good reference for what a line item is.
Yes,
That's my name.
oh, the bars numbers,
Yeah, exactly, what a bar's number is, what a line item is, as you're doing. the budget. That's my entire.
so we can figure out when, I'm sure we're getting pretty close to when we should start to have the meetings. Right, it seemed like it was the end of October and started like through November, so that we could maybe shoot for the first week of December and looking at a first week. Which is really close.
And then we have to have the amended one done.
And we're gonna have to have an amended one now.
Yeah.
Right? Anything else for?
No,
I have a question with, what is the REIT?
it's a real estate excise tax.
Thank you.
It's 1/4% that the cities just get to get, and then there's the REIT too, which is another 1/4% that we can choose to take. And
Yeah,
that's
it
on
looks like it's
sale.
about a $10,000 to $12,000 is what we've collected over the last 3 years. And it looks like we're kind of right on target.
Yeah, and so that's on home sales.
Correct.
Similar to the state, which charges a 2%, right? Not a 2% surcharge.
It's like 1 point.
Are we going to start separating those into, because the REIT one, spending
It'll have to have
opportunities
its own line
are
item.
definitely different than REIT two spending opportunities, and they're not really part of property tax.
It'll have to have its own bars.
Yeah, that's why I had to go back through and separate everything, because I had it all just lumped into property taxes. So it's all been separated and it's now under its own bar.
And that's one of the things, I guess, we're transitioning anyway to department, or to me, as which is a combination of department / council report. In looking at the audit, we are trying to make the bars numbers make more sense. There's a whole lot of things that complicate things, like we get grant money in, it gets thrown into the pool with all of the other general expenses and throws off our, are we to budget, are we over budget, and if you have this $100,000 comes in, it shows you, it makes it look like you're $100,000 over budget, which really you aren't. So if we can move those to an area where we can better control them, and that includes like the REIT too. Any permitting money that comes in has to be segregated. I'd like the park to run as its own business unit so that we can see park money coming in and going out, since we're at over $12,000 this year raised. And maybe we can, see how the park's running. So we're looking for things like that to try to better organize. And we do have a number of items that are miscategorized that's throwing off how much are we spending in any one bars line item. So I should think of that as a budget item. If you're doing your home budget, you would have groceries, taxes, and gas. So those are very similar. We have things like that. And those are called bars. So yes, we've been working on
A lot of rearranging to do.
Yeah.
113-page document that tells you how to figure out what bars number you should use. And it's just my number. Okay, so let's see, my status is, did the walk in the park. I was very lucky. I got to do 4 laps with Mary Blair Forty. That would be Esther's daughter. We talked about all kinds of stuff. After we were done just kind of doing the meet and greet portion, we got to the serious meat of things, which was the cancellation last year of their family reunion, which has been long-standing. And I was just frank with her. I told her council was lied to. Council was told there was nobody on that day, and we are very sorry that happened. And we brainstormed a little bit. I said, if you'd like to have another day or a weekend that's locked out for you guys, you've done so much, the park is named after you, right? So if we can't do right by you, then how are we gonna do right by anybody? So that was a good conversation. And then we got around the part of like the second lap where we were passing the water park and started talking about the water park. And they felt that they were kicked out of the water park and maintaining it with the right, we did the fix for the money taking portion. They would like to have some access to maybe fix that again. And I said, you know, we would welcome it. They maintain it. They go down there, they pressure wash it. They keep it's beautiful. The whole park's beautiful. I mean, really, that's should open with that. The walk in the park really showed me how beautiful the park is, and we didn't spruce it up for that day. That's just how it always looks. And our lists aren't here, but I'm giving them this. So yeah, so I'd like to look at basically what we could do to repair the what we did to the 40s, to the 40 family. Let's see, when Sierra Santa Fe, there are the people who did our chip seal, when they were here, I caught the boss, which turned out to be the owner, David Simmerly, and we talked for a little while. He was not really happy with the way this worked, and it kind of reflects what Mike was talking about. TIB wanted us to run all like 5 or 6 or 7 small cities all through one, so that Napa,
It was a group grant.
so that Napa and then Napa Vine chose to spearhead it on all of our behalves. Well, what that meant is we were lost in the communication chain. They came down here and decided what streets to do without letting us even know that was happening. They weren't really communicative when, at least with us, of when they were going to be here, because we had a chain of people and the telephone game happened. So in talking through that, he said, you know, there's things that they could do. They could, if we approved and we decided if maybe they're on our small works roster and they've got a price that we like, that we could just like schedule with them. If we found $20,000 in our budget, we could say, you know, as you're driving up and down I-5, if you can get this done at your leisure, then they could give us a fantastic deal on keeping our streets more maintained. So it's something to think about moving forward. Nothing in the near term, just for future consideration. Let's see, we're going to
Ask that.
go ahead.
Are we going to hold Napa Vine accountable? Because that was one of my issues when we started this whole thing, is he was to provide regular reports, feedback, all the documents, everything. And if we were left out of the loop
We have.
for communications, then that's an issue.
I think from the project management standpoint, they're doing that. They're managing down to us, but the connection between the vendor through Napa Vine to Toledo was broken.
Winlock and there was a couple other cities that it just didn't work right.
Yeah, and he didn't like it either. He actually probably would have rather,
No, he was.
you know, if we just had, it looks like it's gonna be $46,000 that Napa Vine is billing us, that we're gonna pay once we pass through.
Yeah.
That check is not in your file, because I said, no, we're not signing that until we get TID up for the money. But if they had just said, here's your vendor, it's 50 grand or 46,000. Work with them, you know, rather than stand in the middle of it.
Well, there's some streets that didn't get looked at that I think needed to be done.
And we have a pothole that's been chip sealed.
And a couple streets that, or a couple areas that got chip sealed that are like an alley, I mean.
It would have been nice if we'd have known which streets were getting chip sealed, or we had some input we could have done some patches ahead of time, and we had like 2 months notice. So we could have found some, we could use some ARPA money to fill a couple potholes that the chip seal would go over and kind of help protect the new patch, but we learn next time. Let's see. Jamie, you had asked about Congresswoman Perez. I've reached out, and they're willing, I think that they're willing to support us. If I need to get connected with the people who are writing the grant, that is the.
Todd Shepherd
Okay,
and Amy, Buzzard.
okay, yeah, I need to get all of them.
They had an economic development,
That's this morning.
that was from 3 to 5 p.m. and, I was
Okay,
with my kiddo, so I was.
okay. I do have an email to Sarah Kohu, that's Congresswoman Perez's district director, about the us falling above the poverty line as a city and how we can address that, because I really have no idea where to start. So I'm hoping we can maybe take advantage of her staff. She has to. Let's see. I'll let talk about the plan growth meeting. Oh, actually, you weren't there, I was there.
You were there.
Okay, we had plan growth meeting.
Oh,
No, I'm not gonna move on yet, I'm just working on my list.
oh,
What was that on the plan growth?
It was with regards to the sharing of some of the grant money.
Thank you, yes. There is they're not sure, actually, there weren't a lot of cities raise their hands to pay $2,500 for $10,000 of work, which is unfortunate. Maybe as they all start to have their eyes opened as to how expensive this thing is going to be, we can get some progress, because the initial numbers I'm seeing have us looking for an extra $16,000 over the next twice over the next 2 years to finish what looks to be $132,000
that's
task.
16,000.
So we can times 2, yeah, so we're gonna have to figure that out, and we can find a way to do some of the work ourselves, or I don't know what. Or maybe, we can do some of this if we get some permitting money in.
Is someone in the office gonna do a deep dive on what REIT 1 that they pay for and REIT 2, because
Yeah. Let's see, we have a public hearing scheduled for the 11th at 6 p.m. Please come. And that's it for me. Anybody have any questions on council? No? Okay, let's go to committee reports. Thanks for talking. I want to come up and, got anything to report?
well, there's not a lot to report. I was in Nashville all week for a family wedding. And maybe I could touch on REIT 1 and 2 just briefly. The REIT 1 and REIT 2 are real estate excise taxes that are collected by the state every time there's a home that changes hands. And we, at one point in time, thought we were not even collecting REIT 1 taxes, which we're entitled to do to the tune of 0.25%. But the state then authorized that an additional 0.25% be given to cities at their request. And the ways that the monies are spent are quite different. The REIT 1 funds are typically used for capital improvement programs, things that are in your capital improvement budget. I think that would probably require a little bit more of a deep dive into what those items could be. Because that could, is that for planning? If it's for planning, have you found your 16? The thing is, we are looking at some annexation requests and some development requests that would probably produce a neighborhood of 300 to 350 homes changing hands from a developer who would pay the tax to future residents of this city. And I believe the two combined, I worked as an average of $500,000 a house, would net us somewhere between $750,000 and $1 million that we normally wouldn't see. And solve a lot of where are we gonna get that money issues. Not to mention the property taxes, sales taxes, and the other things that we would get as a benefit. So that's how that's working, and Rachel's been digging into how we get REIT to, so that we can, when the time comes, it becomes a money flow for the city. The other item on the agenda, as most people who follow Facebook know, next Wednesday, October the 11th, there will be a planning commission public hearing with regards to a development application that normally would be an administrative process only.
I'm here to take the daggers on that one. I said we need to have a public hearing.
That's okay, and the developer is gracious enough to allow that to happen. He has been, from the very beginning, has indicated his willingness to work with the city, because he's a city resident, and he has kids here, and he wants to be part of the community, and he's a builder here, so he's going to make a presentation as well, and the public, of course, is invited to comment, but be reminded it is an administrative process, and probably no decision will be made that night. We'll take all the public comment into consideration, and then go by our rules and our regulations with regards to Fourth Amendment rights and our current city codes and restrictions. So that's all I have on it.
So now on Route 2, Route 2 can be used for planning, acquisition, repair, replacement, reconstruction, construction, improvement of street, roadways, highways, sidewalks, street and road lighting systems, traffic signals, bridges, water system, storm and sanitary sewer systems.
Yeah, you know, the $5,000 signs that we wanted to, to show your speed coming in town, things like that.
Yes.
So how would that be different than council? I guess it would be supporting.
Yeah, I think it's larger expenditures. But, you know, it could be spent on I&I, it could be spent on
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
Kind of part of the city
Moving
needs
right
to be
along.
bringing money in.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Let's see, we're striking police officer committee reports, because you're gonna do all your talking up front. Park board have anything to say? William?
Yeah, we had a good, we had a good, day in the park and a walk in the park as you. This is Janine Washington, and she organized the day in the park, and she probably goes.
So considering that the weather wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
The weather was really good actually for most of the day, so it was about 5:30, 6 o'clock, started downpouring, so we kind of showed up about 6:30, so it was kind of getting dusk. So we had 5 vendors showed up, we had 5 that canceled because of illness, all kinds of different reasons, but anyway, so we made $150. So I have a lot of people that want to come back next year, make it bigger. We have a lot of different ideas, maybe moving it up a little bit earlier, so the weather doesn't go bad. So that we can have more people come. A lot of people said that they didn't hear about it, but it was on Facebook, it was plastered around Toledo, we had it on Paintia, whatever, there's music in Paris. I don't believe we had anything in the it was kind of new.
Yeah, she did mention. Yeah.
Did you mention it? Okay. I was hoping that she would do it before I didn't see that before the budget's after. But anyway, so it was, I thought it was successful. I thought everybody had a good time, everybody made some money that was there, and they enjoyed it, and they want to come next year, so.
So probably would be good if the park board pays attention to whether or not the walk in the park happens on that same day, especially if you're saying it, you'd like to have it earlier. Because the two aren't really all that compatible. it was, as we were walking around, it became the avoiding the vehicles pulling in, and then the loud party music started, and it kind of felt more of a quiet walk around the park. So listen, maybe y'all can take that as back.
Vance, is that your opinion or is that everyone's opinion?
When I saw, while I was there.
See, what you saw was there, but a lot of people asked if they would have music beforehand, beginning of the walk. First of all, Esther Bordy is a woman that loves kids, loves family,
I know, I
celebrates
was
the
walking
park
there at the
and
time.
everything. So the park, to make it a bigger event, to raise money for something that she loved. It's kind of hard when you have all those vehicles trying to come in. I understand that. I understood that it was gonna be blocked off and it wasn't blocked off. Okay, people were coming this side and this side. So at that point, I couldn't really do anything.
Oh, I thought I was just talking about always making things better.
Okay, and I understand that. I do understand that, but a lot of people have good comments to say about it.
Okay.
So that's the first one that I've heard, and that's from you. So I guess I was asking if it was your opinion or was that?
I was actually, okay. I was talking with Mary Blair when the music started blaring and we were having to try to deal with having a conversation as we're having a nice walk in the park. So it wasn't totally compatible, in my opinion.
Okay,
Sure.
What happened to the $150?
I gave it to Rachel today.
Oh.
Let's go into the park board.
Okay, so that brings us to $500 on the day, just about.
Yeah.
500.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see, public comment on agenda items.
Oh, wait, no, we didn't do council reports.
Oh, Tara, just went right by
You
you.
did, you
I
did.
really want to read this thing.
I have so much to say.
Go ahead, Emily.
Well, first of all, my idea for a walk in the park is to actually, put it on cheese days in the morning, on Sunday morning. So that we do a little pancake feed where everybody on Saturday night who came out too late, and well, shouldn't say too late, but everybody who came out late on Saturday, who needs some pancakes in the morning on Sunday morning, and who wants to walk for Esther. And then that would leave Janine plenty of time, for, her day in the park. And, let's see, I would say, I was sent a wish list by Tim Kender. I think I sent that to you. And some of it was basic stuff, like a shovel, a garden hose, some limbers, a rake, and some mop heads, Pine Sol bleach, rubber trash cans and garbage bags, all of which I think could be purchased at any time of the year. And some of that should be just set up as a regular purchase at any time. We should just have that. We could just have that.
Isn't some of that covered under the grant that was just applied for?
No, that grant is specifically for, what he asked for, and the other one, here, I'll get to that in just a.
That's actually a good reason to have the park be in its own, business, so they can actually have some known budgets, for things like
Yeah,
that.
that stuff they can just go buy. They've got it now.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah, they pick stuff up.
And Lewis County.
In Lewis County, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure when.
All right, so it's just the list that I got, so I'll send that, maybe I'll send that to you or to you. And I want to remind everybody that October 28th, the city's gonna do a recycling program from 10 to 1 at South County Park. Bring metal, glass, cardboard, your refrigerators, stoves, and appliances you want to get rid of.
Are they doing tires?
Yes, bring your tires. Don't bring the big ones, but bring your regular size tires. You can bring 12 per household. My mother will probably be checking your ID, so you better bring it. and you better be from Williams County, because she will check you. The 28th is the same location as it was before, yes.
Thank
It's put on by the Lewis County, transfer station.
Does that location work well?
It worked beautifully last.
Let's talk about doing it in the gravel area behind
I
there.
think it's too small there. I think it worked really great this way. I'm gonna ask the Lions Club help, with, some manpower. I didn't do that last time.
People bring phones and stuff.
They do, they bring all of that stuff and they set up, you can bring TVs and paint and all that stuff, so. Our company.
It's also blacktop over there, so way easier to clean everything up.
Oh, it is?
Perfect.
Oh, that's awesome.
Where you,
Sure about this, so.
Thank you for that, that's a good point.
And then, I also didn't remember if I told you this, but October 17th, I'm gonna go to the annual RMSA meeting in Kennewick to learn about risk management in the future. And I'm gonna bring back $5,000 for the city, so. And I wanted to get an estimate from you, Mike, on how much, paint would be for painting all of the chip seal, the new chip seal roads, for yellow, for this
okay,
coming season.
the county's gonna be.
Are they supposed to
do
do
it, so.
Are they supposed to put new stop, are they supposed to put new stop signs
I
there?
believe that was in the thing, I'll have to look at,
Because I'm gonna admit right here and now, the very first day I moved right through a stop sign.
They should come back and replace exactly what they covered up.
That's enough.
Right? You're gonna forget.
Yeah, yeah,
And we all-
Probably not.
but if you're talking about dividing the streets, not
She's
too
talking
sure about
about
that.
No, just,
Striping on the, okay,
She's talking about striping.
these are yellow, so it's fine.
But any of the stop bars or anything like that that they covered up, they
Okay, great.
are gonna.
that's it. Thank you.
Did they cover anything besides stop signs?
I don't think anything else is started.
Okay, great.
Crosswalk.
If they did cover a crosswalk, they'll replace that.
I have spent the last couple of weeks looking at, our representation in the government, state and federal. And, if anybody's interested, you can just Google it. US government, representatives, senators, same with the state. And you can check out what they're voting on and how they're voting. And it's very interesting. I think it's a good idea to figure out what your representation is doing. And also, I'm going to be a jurist. I got some feelings, so I'm going in.
Okay.
That's it.
I also attended a walk in the park. With care 50 years. That was my first one. Embarrassing. But it was a delight. And I actually made a whole loop and was very pleased with myself. A side note. Dr. Bordy being the person of name for that. Our house, she as a child used to, when the coal truck came to town, used to gather other kids and they threw coal down the chute into our basement for the furnace. And Esther herself told me that years ago. And I just thought it was a nice memory to have along the walk that she was a child here. And I also echo the music. Came really frightening times if you were coming around that corner. It it just was not the same atmosphere as what we thought we were there to do, which was enjoy the beauty of the park. Thank you.
Well, I did go off in the park too. And went home, got some chores done, went back down and had lunch at the day in the park and found a vendor that had a toy for my granddaughter. And other than that, just trying to keep up. Nothing else to report.
I've been enjoying the strawberry rhubarb preserves that we got from the day of the park myself. They're very good on those.
Can I add one more thing?
Go ahead.
I did attend the walk in the park, which was great. I remember Esther, when I was in 4-H, I was often at the senior center. You find me there after school for many hours. And she was often there as well. So fond memories of that. Joe Jones and I walked about a mile around and around and around and around. We talked about the playground equipment in the park. And so we decided that we were gonna, for grants, we did. And you know about that too. So, more can be revealed, I think, later.
Not the grant that we were under, we got to get filed, that we have the, no.
No, that was another one. So we, and I've got it pretty all out. You'll have it tomorrow. It's the Wiggle Stop
Okay.
grant. So we've got a lot of that inputted. I need to get with you tomorrow. I need some reports on projected budgeting.
It's really important for us to have an ADA approved playground in our park. So that's an important thing for me. Okay, the answers.
Okay, so we went on through public comment. Anybody change their mind?
The only thing that I was gonna note is that the councilperson Morgan had indicated perhaps Sunday of cheese days for the park. And that's pretty much always been the Lions Club's barbecue day.
In the morning.
Well, they start setting up the night before because they barbecue all night.
I think there's a park board and they've got most of the year to figure out. Like I said, if you want to do it on Tuesdays, but to figure out how they want to do that, cooperate with each other.
Well, then Tuesday is the Lions Club event, correct? So I would say. Yeah.
Okay. So on the new business, it looks like after talking. Go ahead, I'm sorry, if you have a public comment.
Oh.
No, there's public comment on agenda items, and there's another public comment at the end.
Always.
Okay, great. So it looks like, the city attorney has suggested that we do an ordinance on the ordinance 792 or pro tem 90 position.
Yeah, he said that we just needed to do another one because it was voted on that night. So then we'll, you know, reassigned to those ones again.
Okay. There you go. Isn't it done going first? How's everything to be out of order?
You need a.
It's all. It looks like, yeah, I need a motion, but I
I'm
was
gonna
like, I
motion
need to
that we
find it.
approve ordinance 792, making Eric the mayor pro tem for a 90-day position.
Up to 90 days.
Up to.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, so. Great. Now that I can actually read it, yeah, an ordinance of the city of Toledo, Washington relating to the appointment of a mayor pro tem to serve as mayor for a period of up to 90 days. And you made the motion.
Yes, I seconded.
Would anybody else like to discuss that on council? No. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
And I will abstain. Okay, so it approves, it's approved before. So the next one is ordinance 793, an ordinance of the city of Toledo creating an appointed office of city utility clerk and establishing duties, compensation hours, and effective date and severability and repealing all ordinances in conflict here with him. I know we have to have this, but they weren't able to find it, so we're gonna just do the right thing and do another one because we had a.
Right, it was Shelley's position. is
Yeah.
what we're doing. So there was our new position.
So it looks like maybe the ordinance didn't get created or
It just never
just
got.
nothing happened. Okay.
I I think it never got filed.
Okay, so I would entertain, a motion in regard to
I'll move that we approve the ordinance for the city, for the appointed office of city utilities clerk.
I'll second.
that. Okay, we have,
Discussion,
yes, we have a
Yes.
motion and a second discussion.
discussion, are we going to address the dates here? Says approved reading 10-2, publication 10-7, effective date 10-12.
Thank you for that feedback. That was corrected. It now says 10-2 instead of 10-12
Correct.
for effective date.
So it doesn't have to be publicized before it's done.
We already have the ordinance,
So similar to, so,
just like with Eric's that we just did. I mean, you guys are approving it.
yeah, not to be confused with a public hearing where you have to
Right.
give 2 weeks notice before you can do anything, but this is just our way of making sure everybody knows that we preview the ordinance.
Yeah.
In case they don't want to go to the website. I should remind everybody again, this is all online. You can read every bit of what we. of what we
So
see.
my question then is,
Yes,
do we have to publicize it in order for it to become effective?
no, it's effective as soon as we vote on it and then we publicize it. It would be nice if we didn't have to publish it because it costs us $87 off. 55. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, none opposed? Okay, motion carries. And now approval of resolution 271A. Carly Jones Utility Clerk Employment Agreement. Motion for that.
I'll make a motion that we accept city of Toledo resolution 2023-271E for Carly Jones.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion?
We have a motion and a second. Look for discussion. Go ahead.
Okay, so, last meeting, I just got through saying how we, are transparent about everything. And we look at things before we make decisions, we have discussions. And my issue with this right here is, none of us have even spoken with Carly. We've not seen her resume. The same thing happened when we hired Rachel and Ronald. And where's Ronald at? And so,
Well, that's not our job. Correct.
our job is to approve this. If we're going to approve it, we should have something to judge it by.
But
I
that's not our
don't rubber stamp anything.
I'm taking Rachel's word at having worked with Carly, that Carly's already doing a good job, and Eric interviewed with Rachel, several people, and chose Carly, so rather than feeling I needed to interview her also, I'm trusting their word that she's a good fit, and it sounds like from what Rachel said already today, she's been working and only had 3 questions all day long. Sounds like she's fitting in.
There's gonna be pros and cons with any candidate that's gonna come in with a resume. It's so much more than a background, it's so much more than job experience. I mean, you're not working with her 8 hours a day. I mean, we spend 40% of my day with her. And again, there were reasons that we chose the person that we did. There were reasons that I brought in 3 candidates that I did. They were all very different. Their resumes were all very different. And it was not an easy decision, but it was one that I ultimately sat down with Eric on, and we discussed it in detail. And it's kind of who we chose to go with.
I get that, and I trust your judgment. However, that's not the process. And if it's gonna,
It is.
Maybe you should evaluate that. when we're talking.
The
So,
process is that
Correct.
the mayor hires the staff.
there we go.
The council is the policy enforcer.
Correct.
We do not hire the staff. That's not our, we don't oversee, we don't.
And many sort of process needs to be changed.
But that's
That's not.
That's not a discussion.
Is an ordinance of the night.
Eric,
Yes, that's not an any city management.
they're talking over each other.
That's not how any city management works. And as,
Hold on, you can have a, go ahead.
We need to hear what each person is saying instead of trying to overtalk.
Thank you.
I'm not following.
I will do a better job.
Thank you.
so according to, if you look at how a city is run and how in the blue book, the Bible of city code, the mayor is at the top. The mayor is the one who hires and fires, reprimands, and has reprimanded everyone in charge of everything. We are voted in by the people. The people who are hired are not voted in by the people, right? So there's a distinction there. So we are in charge of policy. They are in charge of running the city. We don't get to say, oh, I don't like the way you're doing it. I have a problem. That's their job. That's the mayor's job.
Thank you, Emily. So
So-
if I may.
Yeah.
I think that that's something for us to talk about with policies, if we'd like that. What I'm fearful of is that we take the glacial pace of council and apply that to our need to hire. Right, so, I mean, if this were waiting on council approval, it could be a month to hire somebody. And maybe if that were for city clerk or treasurer, or, you know, or chief of police or whatnot, that would be one thing. But we are just talking about it, yeah. That's it. But
And it was, the job was posted, listed, Indeed. Candidates, resumes gathered, gone through, chosen who to interview. You were on the interview team, and they hired you.
And it wasn't an easy decision, actually.
It wasn't, it really wasn't.
Right, you were great candidates.
Just because we're not on the team, doesn't mean that the process isn't carefully chosen. And it's not, or it's not, you know.
It's not even what I'm saying. You're asking me to approve this.
The appointment agreement. So what you're doing is.
You're just approving the contract.
Yeah, you're approving the contract. So
Not the
this is what council's job is, to approve this spending. So the council creates the position, and then council approves that, you know, that we're choosing to pay somebody a reasonable amount for that job. So that is what council does control the first strings. So you could say, far too much money or far too.
Or whatever terms are in there. I thought it's
So
for
this is
discussion.
Shelley's job, we're recreating Shelley's job, and now we're voting on that job.
We're agreeing on the contract. So what we're doing is we're agreeing on the terms of the contract, which allow me to sign.
Exactly.
And so that is the check and balance.
Yeah.
It's not the pick up the person, it's the choice of it.
We already passed ordinance 793 that says the mayor will appoint that person. That, we did that just prior to looking at the contract now.
Yes,
So what's on the table now is just the contract.
it's just the contract. I understand what you're asking for. I'm not sure how to get there in the future. I think that's something we should talk about. Maybe that's a great first topic item for
It's been an issue in the past, so, it continues to be an issue.
take it back. That's fine. Any other discussion? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor?
I,
Aye, and opposed? That vote passes. Welcome.
The city of Toledo.
Government class. Cool.
That was one of my interview questions. What kind of grade did you get in your class?
And here, and a good example of transparency.
Yeah.
So,
And now we're gonna swear. I mean, you're gonna do it just off like, you wanna back here? Okay, certificate of appointment. I state your name.
I, Carmen Miller,
Oh, let's see, at least write that right. Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm
swear
that I am a citizen of the United States,
that I am a citizen of the United States,
state of Washington, and the city of Toledo,
in the city of Toledo,
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Washington,
and the ordinances of the city of Toledo,
and the ordinances of the city of Toledo,
and will do to the best of my judgment,
and I will do to the best of my judgment,
skill, ability,
ability,
truly, faithfully, diligently,
really faithfully and diligently,
and impartially perform
and partially perform
the duties of the position
the duties
of assistant utility clerk
of the assistant utility clerk
for the city of Toledo,
for the city of Toledo,
for this county,
this county,
Washington.
Washington,
Such as duties are prescribed
such duties prescribed
by law,
by law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Okay. Approval of ordinance 791, read 2.
I make a motion that we approve ordinance 791, approving REAP 2.
second,
We have a motion and a second. Any conversation on it. I'm gonna read it first, hold on. An ordinance imposing an excise tax, read 2, on the sale of real estate, providing for the collection thereof, limiting the use of the proceeds therefrom, my goodness, this is not English, and fixing penalties for the violation thereof. So getting to the, we can only spend it on certain things, but it's all things that we desperately need money for, so we'll have no trouble spending. Anybody else have questions or comments? Okay,
it's,
okay,
1/4 of 1%.
1/4 of 1%, yes, to the, off of the sale of, real estate in the city limits. Okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye, and opposed? Okay, motion passes. Now, the, approval of, resolution 270A surplus t-shirt sale to the Historic Society, which is a 501c3 in the amount of $1.
Go ahead, Kathy.
I make a motion. Resolution 270A surplus t-shirts sale that we. Motion.
And
I second.
And was gonna second. Okay, fantastic. And my comments are, this is a great thing, that people like having the retro t-shirts available. And I think the Historic Society will help spread some of that around for the rest of town. Who enjoy wearing these fantastic shirts. Any other discussion? Oh, okay, I'll
To get that fantastic shirt.
throw another line.
Gosh, I wish I could come.
Yeah.
Where?
Oh, yeah.
Here.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great, motion carries. Finally, on the new business, we have approval for $1,120 for the use of force seminar for Chief Gervais Lawrence to go to, I totally feel your name, that's why I'm not to say the whole thing. Garvey, whatever, sorry, my bad. Whatever it's whatever, I was like, how do you pronounce that? I don't speak French.
I always say Barbara's too, so.
Okay,
But it's probably
I'm sorry.
worded all.
It does.
It's terrible, I feel bad.
I'm used to it.
So what is this for?
It's a approved insurance carrier who supports training and coming up on it's on the 17th or
17 and the,
yeah, 16 hours of training, so certification, which is really important, as you know, law enforcement to be updated on that. It goes toward the required Washington State Criminal Justice Training Commission training that we're supposed to do per year. So it'll be a good thing to go be a part of, get refreshed, and understand new laws.
and RMSA is paying for half the reimbursement, half the cost.
Yep.
So I will entertain a motion.
I motion that we approve the funds for Chief Dwayne to attend this.
I will second that.
Be quicker, John.
Sorry, I jumped on it.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and I'm gonna just start calling you Chief Blaine.
That's right.
701.
701.
701.
So,
Okay, 701. All in favor? Chief.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. On to other business. I put this on other business because I want the transparency to happen. Our audit results for 2019, 2020, and 2021 are available online in today's packet. And I believe are they separately in there? So they have their own group. You can go to the website and see the audit results. We received 4 management letters and a finding, which is in the audit report is fantastic. We did a lot of work with the state auditor. Jamie and I did to get them, to try to get them the information that they needed. Rachel, I ended up taking them because it was,
Pick up that last piece.
That was
It was all the work. It
Yeah.
was a lot.
I highly recommend everybody, take a look at it. It talks about how our processes were wanting. And it's something that the city's paying attention to.
Yeah, we're making policies as we to fix everything as we go.
To try to do a much better job at that. And some of that, a lot of that comes down to things that Jamie's been asking for, and that I still want to have, which is a quarterly report. Today's October 2nd. It's the beginning of Q4. We should be looking at the Q3 and Q3 being a Q4 report telling us how we're doing coming into the end of the year. But we don't have that because we don't have the infrastructure to back it.
Right, and she's gone over that and how she does present all that to council usually at every meeting. She'll say, you're 80% here, you're 30% here, this needs to be brought back in. And I have no problem providing that. I think it's a great resource for all of us to have, especially people that are actually spending the money. I know Mike's asked for it several times. Hey, where am I at with this? Until Eric and I finish this task, I can give you the papers, but you're gonna be like, what? It's like that meeting, that workshop that we had a couple weeks ago. I did the best I could with what I had, and the bars are so confusing, that until we rearrange this 100 pages of stuff, which ultimately it's a lot of tedious work, but it's not gonna be hard. I think a couple of days, a couple hours each day, we should be able to knock it out. But yeah, I agree having those reports, and Angie's already gone over which reports they are, and it shows exactly where you're at. She does hers each month, so.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's 21, just having 21 pages of bars items
It's crazy.
is not really a report that you can draw.
Right.
Yeah, well, the number one line in the report is the city did not have adequate internal controls for ensuring accurate reporting of its financial statements, which is something we've been complaining about for 2 years now. And something that Rachel is taking care of now. So, and that's one of my things that I keep bringing up of having Rachel as signatory, that's not in return control. She's writing checks. She shouldn't be signatory.
That's why we made the change.
Right, that's why they put that double line in there in case of an emergency. I could sign, but that checks and balances that. But yeah, I'm with you. It's, you know, we have that issue with payroll. You know, it's time to checks. You know, and if somebody needed people to sign checks, I would.
Yeah, and that was very early on in the process. When we got early feedback, which is why we ordered to signature. Yeah. Granted, that's not a guarantee because well, they can't catch them with this form.
Right.
But it's a step right there.
Right. And I think 2024, we really start to have a fresh budget. Everything starts fresh. I'm caught up on everything that I know about in the office. Nothing's popped up and stuff does pop up. You know, like the district court stuff, but I mean, it's not gonna we're caught up. 2024, all that should be clean and.
Well, and we're fixing our transparency. And that was one thing that was lacking. Yeah. Moving in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving on to council training, did we talk about that more? You said that's.
So yeah, I understand Jamie's concern, and I it somehow was brought up, I don't know if you emailed me back or what happened, but I have reached out to the RMSA. I'm waiting on an email back from them. That's why I haven't followed up. I kind of expressed the concern like, hey, this is $9 per council member. What are our other options? And she said they are rolling out grants at the beginning of next week. So she's gonna send them to me and it should cover, it's not in the scholarship one that you're talking about, next on grant, the scholarship. So it's actually ones for the council members. And she said if they're not able to make that day, that there are ways to get them done online at like no cost. So I'm just waiting on that email back. Once I have that, I can either put it in the next council meeting or I'll probably just send it out to everyone and we can discuss it.
And then that'll be something we can turn into a policy, right? We
Right.
can turn it into the council or the elected official training and the employee training policy. Which
Yeah, it's
is-
already required. It's already required. I'm not sure why it was.
Yeah, there's the elected official.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the elected official, like, there's the basic. What's the name of the certificate? I think that's what the online certificate you're supposed to get right after you get elected. You have a certain amount of credits that you're supposed to earn. It's all online. I think it's 30 credits. And then if you get an additional 30 credits, then you're like a super person, so.
Hours or credits?
Credits, and those are like 7 credits. Are I think 2 or 3 hours.
Only 30 hours.
So, yeah, 30 hours.
So as soon as I have that information, I'll get it out. I just don't have the scholarship info right now.
So let's get that onto the agenda for the summer grant.
Those scholarships, were you talking that they would apply to the flyer that you sent out?
Yeah, they're gonna pay for those classes. If they're specifically for those classes.
Okay, because
Yeah.
that flyer, it actually is going to be a Zoom training, so it's not.
So there's another one that's in person, and I think it's, I wanna say it's in Bridgefield, which is down by Woodland. I don't know, but there's one in person one too. There's several of them. So there's ones that you can actually go to. I just threw it out there as because we have a new council member and we're gonna have a new mayor. And those classes are required. I don't know how the former employees got those classes out to you guys. I don't know how they kept track of them. I don't know if they.
It was just the openings.
Yeah, so what happens, these things happen, like. Being practicing or something like that, would charge the higher deductible, and that's the RMSA, so that's the. Fraud ones and the cybersecurity with those elected officials, and they're through that are. State you're supposed to have them.
Dwayne, you had something?
Yeah, real quick. Oh. So I forgot to mention that this is our candidate for the lateral officer. Putting him on the spot, he's got 30 seconds to give you a synopsis.
He was late.
Actually, he has a pass on that. 30 seconds.
Hi, my name is Edward Mann. You can also call me Eddie.
2.5 years in law enforcement. This will be my third agency I work for. If I'm hired, right? So we're undergoing the hiring process here. I'm looking forward to Toledo because it's a smaller city. That means we can focus on quality service. Being part of a bigger department, my first round in this profession. Because of the calls, higher call volume, you're not able to provide that quality service. So I'm really big about community engagement. That's something I really learned about partnerships with the community. So that's something I'm hoping that Chief here allows me the opportunity to work on once I get settled in and doing the work that he, however, wants me to do the job. So I'm really big on community engagement.
And so, that's our third lateral candidate in a row. So that's good news. It's not on wood. A lot of the other places are scrapping for people, so the Toledo has a lot to offer. So, all right,
Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. And then finally, we've got just public input. Oh, go ahead.
Well, since we're talking about training, Rachel, could you find out how many of the planning commissioners have gone through the proper open meeting training?
I don't have, I don't think any of them have.
I can probably help with that.
Well, I have.
Yeah, we can definitely, have you?
Yeah.
So if they've done it on their own, I can reach out to them.
Okay.
They should be able to just be logged straight into our,
Well, it's an online and then they get a certificate. And
Right.
you sign that and turn that to city,
right,
which is the method when you were.
right.
Yes.
I want to make sure it's all.
So that, extend out. to all
Yeah, I
that.
thought, you know what, I do have a
You're
binder
right.
that has, I think where Devin was writing in stuff, so, I can look in that and see. I was just kind of looking at. But yeah, I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay, now we're open to public input.
I have some things.
Go
I
ahead.
have a couple, so make notes. So first of all, I just want to commend the council on your continued work towards transparency. I really appreciate that. As someone who's engaged in what you're doing in the city and how it's working. And I've been on a lot of boards in my professional career. It's been really disappointing to watch how the city operates. With a lack of transparency, a lack of ability for the public to be involved, and just kind of has felt in the past a little shady. It's nice to know what's happening with you guys. I appreciate that very much. And that in that same mindset of how board runs, I would encourage you guys to consider adding continuing ed training into your budget as a specific line item, both for the council as well as the police department and any other departments that require it. And that it be allowed, financially, that everyone will be able to attend and have some expected timeline of when that should be completed for each department. Every job I've had that requires continuing ed, I know I'm going in every year what's expected of me and pay for it. And that's a real nice thing to have. So keep that in mind. I know at the last couple of meetings I was at, you guys talked significantly about items that have been tabled over the past year. I'm wondering if there's been any work done on that. I would like to see some transparency on that as far as someone going back to the minute saying, here's the 43 things we tabled. These are the ones that have been resolved. These are the ones that got left swinging in the wind. And what's the plan for that? If you're going to be transparent, unfortunately, regardless of how long you've been on council, it is now your best to see it. So you're welcome. And so the other piece I would just say is there's a lot of talk on social media right now about the planning commission and the meetings and things like that. So big kudos to Kurt for being willing to have a public meeting. He's not required to do that. I don't know, Kurt. I don't really have any skin in the game as far as whether he builds or not. I don't know what he's planning to build or if you have to give us that information yet, but I would ask specifically to Emily, the way you speak about that situation on social media, not defining yourself as a council member, puts the city at great risk for liability for discrimination. And that's concerning to me as someone who cares big time about what goes on right here. So I'd like the council to maybe address that. Maybe that's also a policy, a social media policy might be necessary if you've gone to planning for the next year or two. With that.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I just wanna. Give everybody one to be. We're gonna have a historical society is gonna have a big party bingo this Saturday. What we're gonna do is celebrate 142 years since Toledo was named Toledo. And 131 years since Toledo was incorporated. And the actual date is October the 10th, which happens to be a Tuesday this year. So I decided let's do it on a Saturday instead of a Tuesday. And so we're gonna have an event that is hopefully will be the first of many to each year. And it is basically a party. I'm calling it the Toledo Birthday Social, because it's the idea that we all get together and talk about stuff, and just about the town and history and all of that. And the thing that's kind of going to be kind of fun with it is that it's a dress up. And so you can dress up, you don't have to, but if you do, you can dress up in your favorite decade. I expect a lot of hippies to show up, but hopefully there'll be some pioneers and all kinds of other people as well. And for that, we're going to have a contest so that everyone who comes to the comes in the door gets a ballot, and then they'll vote on whoever their favorite dress up person is. And we got some rewards and stuff to give. And also we're going to have a silent auction. We've got already got stuff from the businesses around town and private people as well. And we're going to have that as a silent auction. The purpose of all of that is to raise money for the someday history museum, which should be on the other side of this wall. We have a $50,000 grant to do a study on the engineering of this, how good this building is and what it will hold up. And it's gone through a whole bunch of steps. Right now it's the review of the Couch Tribe, because they have a say in it. And then it'll go to, I think, the Department of Commerce. And then after that, we'll look for some contractors and stuff to let them look it over and see, well, what would it cost to fix whatever needs to be fixed. We don't know. And anyhow, that's going to take a lot of money, and besides the grant. And so that's the purpose of this, is to raise money. And hopefully it'll be a good deal, and we will finally get a history.
Earlier today, I put a little bit of history on the wall behind us to remind us what used to be like. I said I was gonna do that last time, and so there it is. It's an amazing, it's an amazing picture to look at.
This building, as best we can tell, I've not talked with Rachel, but maybe she has it in her archives, but this building was, we believe, was built in 1928 as a community building. City Hall was across the street, separate little building. And it then became City Hall. It was when we moved here in 1973, it was a roller rink in City Hall. And then of course there's the food bank, the Paul Steak, and also hopefully we'll have a museum. So anyhow, I hope all of you can come. I know the council can all come together. If you're well disguised, you would be.
Thank you.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun. I have a live musician, gonna play live music, and you might have seen him at the giant cheese ball drop last New Year's Eve. He's the guy with the saxophone. He plays all kinds of music, music from the 1890s. And we have food and all. Oh, and no food.
You're lucky that is not here with your buzzer. Anybody else?
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay.
Second it. Did you want a second?
Good.
Well, that one, yeah.
Yeah, they're really.
One picture.
Oh.
You are. You want to ask where it's serving? Last meeting, last planning commission meeting. So far being on here. Yeah.